Hello there, people of the internet. So I'm up at the old range in North Florida, and I'm visiting family, and I'm not planning on being here long. I brought a few things to make some videos with me, and just for fun, a buddy of mine asked, hey, if things go really wrong, sudden hurricane, insert your choice of problem here, where you have an SHTF situation and now you have to fend for yourself. Do you have the necessary gear to be able to pull that off with what it is that you brought with you? And to that, I'm going to say absolutely. Like, I've been in several SHTF situations, and they are not the Mad Max fighting off marauder and bandit fantasy that people seem to make them out to be. Like, people come together as a community. The likelihood of law and order breaking down to the point where you have civilian on civilian fighting is exceptionally small. It's not what people make it out to be. Aha. Hold on. I see a wasp. I'm hunting wasps with a 12-gauge shotgun. Well, that wasp was turned into mist. Hell yeah. But dude, there are so many wasps out here. It's insane. I've been hunting them all day with my 12 gauge. It's a lot easier than trying to swack them with a hat or anything like that. But anyway, whenever it comes to SHTF, it's probably not going to be what a lot of people like to fantasize about. It's not going to be pure on pure warfare unless things go really, really wrong and we find ourselves with either an invasion going on, which is extraordinarily unlikely, or we find ourselves in a civil war, which realistically speaking is again extraordinarily unlikely. People are just too comfortable nowadays to be willing to sacrifice the comfortable life that they're living to try and make an entirely new government. It's probably not going to happen. Not completely impossible, I will acknowledge that, but it's probably not going to happen. If SHTF happened here, the biggest thing I'd have to worry about is food, water, and gathering supplies from the natural elements that we have around here. Obviously, I live next to the woods. There are plenty of things alive over there that I can gather if necessary, which I have done before on numerous occasions whenever I find myself unable to go to the store to get things, whether I'm poor or if the store is not open or if it's just flat out unavailable. I've been through several hurricanes here. We have ways to generate power. We have fuel for generators, but we also have some solar stuff in the event that we have to generate power through solar energy so we can power all of our things. But if you're watching this, you're probably a gun guy. You came to the gun channel to see guns, so we're going to be looking at the gun aspect. Let's say it's the absolute worst case scenario and I'm going to be fighting off marauders. I don't think anybody could be prepared for that. I don't care how prepared you are. Once that push comes to shove, people are going to realize that they are not as prepared as they think to make something like that happen. The only people that are prepared are the people who were made to do it because of some kind of job. But that's a topic for another video. So if something like that were to happen, I do have here at this house an AK-47 and an SKS. The AK-47, it's a crappy AK. It's an inner ordnance AK, but I went through and I gutted and rebuilt it with a Romanian parts kit. So it should be decent. I don't know what the lifespan on it is going to be, but it should be decent. But in the event that I decide not to trust that, I do have an SKS along with several stripper clips to be able to feed it, and I've tested it. I know the SKS works. I know the stripper clips work super, super well. The issue is the ammunition is corrosive that I have. I got the cheapest stuff that I could find, and it is in fact corrosive. And that's good for long-term storage, corrosive ammo, just the way that the primers are chemically made. They tend to last for a good long while. On top of that, these particular ones are sealed to keep moisture out, which is important for here in Florida. So I probably wouldn't shoot those rounds because I don't want to have to clean my rifle. I wouldn't shoot those rounds unless I was actively defending myself, which is extraordinarily unlikely. Odds are I'd be out gathering game somewhere in the woods, and I don't need that style of firearm or those capabilities with that firearm to be able to get it done. So I have several bolt-action rifles with me that would be more than adequate for a realistic SHTF situation. Sort of. It would normally be pretty decent. Number one, I have, you know what? Let me load this up since I have some rounds right here. I have a 6.5 Carcano carbine. Carcano? I don't know how to pronounce these words, guys, but I'm sure I'm still going to get yelled at down below. That's a spent round. I was like, this doesn't feel right. It's a spent round. I can't shoot that one. But I have this 6.5 Carcano, which I'm sure would probably be one of my better options for carrying around. It shoots 140 grain bullets super well. As a matter of fact, I was just out here accuracy testing it for a video. The big problem that I have with this carbine is that I only have one clip. So I would have 6 rounds, and that's it. And that's the one real strong downside about these rifles. You need those end block clips in order to feed the rifles. And I've only got the one here. I got the one because I brought this one for filming purposes. And now, this right here is just kind of what I got. You know, this was here for filming purposes. It wasn't here for SHTF purposes. For the SHTF, if I really needed it, I would go grab the AK or the SKS. I'd probably use the AK until it died, then swap over to the SKS. But this, if I was off hunting and gathering in the woods, this is my shortest, lightest rifle that I have, and it's probably what I would use, because 6 rounds, I mean, that's more than enough to go trudging through the wilderness near your house to see what you can gather. I'm not going to destroy anything with this rifle either. If I saw a possum or a squirrel or something like that, I could hit it with this and not turn it into baloney mist cloud, versus something like if I had a 30-06. Now I also have this right here. This is a SMLE 303 Brit. Holds 10 rounds of 303 British ammunition. Normally I would say this is probably the best rifle that I could pick, because the 7.62x39 I have is corrosive and I wouldn't want to use it. But this is a fast bolt action. It's got a short bolt throw, cock on close action, 10 round magazine fed with stripper clips. I could do some real significant work with this rifle if it wasn't for one crippling aspect. The magazine on this particular one sucks, and it is extraordinarily unreliable. So I would not want to bet myself on this rifle simply because it is, like, the magazine is not great. As a matter of fact, if you saw the magazine while I had this here, I had the round positioned in a way to where it would actually feed from the magazine. So if I fire this round, typically rounds loaded from the left side of the magazine aren't so bad. But, dude, once I try to pick up from the right side, it is very unreliable. And, come on, baby. Grab that. Grab the thing. There we go. Alright, I got it. That's not something I want to do in the event that I have to actually use my rifle. So that 10 rounds very quickly becomes not a viable option. I have a 30-40 Krag right here, chambered in, you guessed it, 30-40 Krag. But for obvious reasons, this relatively weak rifle is not going to be what I would call ideal. The rounds aren't all that powerful. They are very easy to get stuck inside of this capsule style magazine. You only got 5 rounds of ammunition. The only rounds that I have for the 30-40 Krag here are cast lead rounds, and cast lead is fine for the velocities that 30-40 is going to give us, but it's not exactly a precision rifle. And this isn't exactly something that I wouldn't want to take to the end of the world. It would probably work for, come on baby, don't be like that. It would probably work for what it is that I'd be doing. That round was a little hard to chamber. Do I have some deformities on a round going on? Huh, maybe I just didn't pass that particular round through the sizing die. But yeah, this right here, it works. It goes bang. It would probably do the job that I would need it to do. But if I found myself in a situation while I was out there, it's probably not gonna be my choice of rifle. Ooh, I have here, one second. I have a Finnish Mosin Nagant, 7.62 by 54R. This thing is long. It's heavy. You know it's long and heavy whenever the communist regime that doesn't care about its soldiers at all decides to replace it with some other rifle, which is why they adopted the 9130, and then eventually the M38, and then the M44. I think that's the designations. So, yeah, this thing is a lot. I'm not carrying this around in the woods of Florida, but I will shoot it at the gun range. Oh boy, that sure hits with some authority, dude. I got a steel target down there, and it is basically gone at this point. There's nothing left of that bad boy. Out of all of my bolt action rifles, man, I really don't like what I have to pick here. Just because of what I have at my like accessible to me with what I have here. Oh, that's a hard choice. I don't want to pick the 6.5 Carcano because, dude, reloading that thing would be a nightmare. Trying to find the clip on the ground and then trying to load individual rounds into the clip and then put that back into the rifle. The 3040 Krag, that's an option. It's lightweight, it's relatively powerful, but dude, that magazine just gets hung up so much. It's so easy to jam that thing up. 303 British, bad magazine. It doesn't load very well. I got a 7.5 Swiss K31 over there, which would be a fantastic gun if I had any ammo for it. I got a couple of experimental cast lead rounds and some super lightweight loads, but I don't really have anything useful for that one. And that 7.62 by 54R, dude, that is just a monster of a rifle. I do, however, have this pump action 12 gauge shotgun, along with a good variety of ammunition to run through it. This might be the go-to. This might be the GOAT. Yeah, I don't really take survival shotguns all that seriously. I know that they are plenty effective. I just prefer rifles because I like shooting at things at long distances. But I mean, I guess at the woods distance I'd be shooting things at. I definitely have the ammo for that here. I guess the shotgun would probably be my go-to survival item. It's just not really my cup of tea. But yeah, in the event that SHTF happened, I got the defensive part. I got that fine. I just don't want to fire corrosive ammo and have to clean my rifle just because I went out and shot a squirrel. So I guess 12 gauge shotgun is probably what I'd pick. In the event that I needed a full power rifle, I'd probably go with the Mosin, just because the Carcano would suck to reload. 3040 Krag, it's just not powerful enough for what it is that I would want a full power rifle to do. On top of that, I've only got lead rounds. 303 British, again, bad magazine. How about this? This is my handgun that I have up here. This is an 1872 open top. It's a recreation by Cimarron, and it is chambered in 38 special. I don't have a lot of 38 special here, probably about a 50 round box. But 38 special is super easy to reload, and I got the molds and what I need here to be able to reload this particular round. On top of that, this right here is an open top revolver. It's super, super simple, and it's super, super accurate. I think that as far as the handgun aspect goes, I'd be pretty set. This is not the greatest of handguns to have around, but I think that in terms of the capabilities of what I might need a survivalist handgun to be able to do, one that I can reload for very easily, and one that I know is going to function 100% of the time, I think that this one right here will serve me quite diligently. Let me go ahead and change my angle of trajectory here. I'm just going to aim at the grill out there. Wow, compared to the other things that I've been shooting today, this thing is wimpy and pathetic. But that's just 38 special for you. But boy, is it fun to shoot. I think that was all of my rounds. Let me... Oh, no, I had one left. How about this? Okay, that's all of them now. Cool, that is why you always check to see if you have any ammunition left. That was fun. I'm going to go grab more 38s. That was actually really enjoyable. But yeah, these I could load really well. For a survivalist handgun, I think that this would be fine. Not exactly the fastest of reloading systems, but at least like this I can retain my brass. And we're talking about survival, we're not talking about going to war. If we want to do a I'm going to war setup, then this would be a completely different discussion. People, whenever they think of SHTF, they like to fantasize about what might happen. But they tend to fantasize about a war zone, and us as civilians, we're not soldiers. The likelihood of the United States turning into a war zone is extraordinarily low, and we're very lucky for that. So, do I have a good setup? I think I have a better setup than a lot of other people have. Just the fact that I'm near the woods, if something were to pop off, and I have a lot of area that I could gather things at, I think that gives me a real good advantage. So thanks for watching, folks. I appreciate your time. Like, subscribe, share. Description below is a link to all sorts of stuff. Go check it out. You guys go off. Have yourself a fantastic day. We'll see you on the next episode. Been a little while since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. Poor man's Garen. It's a shame that bolt-action shotguns aren't more mainstream.